Hello everyone, this video is for those of you who want to learn more about breeding and how to make the most out of it, and basically lots of essential tips to just again help you make the best out of what you have or what you need in order to make the best pals. For example, yesterday I wanted to create a powerful greasebolt, the yellow creature that you see there, let's call him pal, and basically I did different breedings. The important thing is that I wanted a certain passive skill that Ozark has. It's exclusive to him based on my knowledge, and basically I needed to inherit it so Greasebolt will have it. And eventually at the end I got what I wanted, including a load of lighting passive skill for Greasebolt. Just so you know, I'm using Palworld.gg in order to kind of calculator for breeding, so I know the outcome of pairs of different pals and what I get, or if I decide to choose certain pal, which pair I need in order to get that specific pal while I'm actually using breeding. For example, you can choose to start from pals that you own. For example, I started with Quiver. The reason I did that, by the way, for all of them you need to know, of course, the path to actually get there. We're going to talk about this in a moment, but basically I searched for a pal that has basically the skills that are powerful and the one that I wanted at least some of them to have in the final result. The Quiver already had Ferocious, Musclehead, and Legend, for example. I didn't want the Dragon one because, again, the new one will focus on lightning damage. In this case, this is Greasebolt, but I wanted 3 of them, and it had all the 3, so I wanted to actually start with a pal that appears, of course, in the chain of breeding, and also the one that has the passive skills that I want. Now the next thing we can go to, for example, Palworld.gg breeding calculator and just start from the top, and then we're going to go until we reach Quiver if basically this option is available. So I search for Greasebolt, and then I see that only Greasebolt and Greasebolt or Musenda in Rayhound gonna give me Greasebolt. I said okay, let's go back and see if I can go back what actually will give me eventually. For example, in this case Rayhound, I need Fuddler in Menasting, and then for Menasting I need Quiver and Ozark. Another useful tool is at palworldtrainer.com, which allows you to also check based on offspring combination list, which is very useful as well, so make sure to check it out. Of course, keep in mind that it might actually won't have this option, right? But again, if you already have a good pal that have it, it's worth actually checking it out because you might find a path. It might be a long path, it might be a shorter path. For example, if I just wanted Menasting, right, and I search if Quiver what I need, I just can find that with Ozark I can get to Menasting. So basically just one breed. There's going to be several ones, but basically this pair is the only one that I need in order to get Menasting at the end. The other thing is just ignoring what you have, for example, and just looking for the breed tree from Greasebolt down and search the one that you prefer best. This can be, for example, based on pals that are maybe easier to get, low level, so you don't need to spend maybe, you know, some spheres that are more harder to get or harder to craft, so you can choose it. For example, Fuddler was actually a good option for me. I had other options, but Fuddler was a cheap one and I knew I can get it quite easily. And this can be in case if you don't have any pal that actually has what you want, which is also a possibility. The other thing is you can first prioritize the pal that has an exclusive skill that you won't find it on other pals, or maybe if it's common between certain pals or might be in the future, you might want to focus on that pal or those specific pals because these are the only ones who are going to give you a specific skill. For example, Ozark that you see there has load of lighting, which increases the lighting damage, and because I want to focus on lighting damage for Greasebolt, I knew that it must be in the chain of breeding. Now, of course, you might combine different things. There are also other things to consider, like for example, I might want to, the reason I wanted to start with Ozark is that actually at the beginning, because I already had Quiver there with Ozark, and I find a nice path that's not too many breedings in order to get to Greasebolt. Otherwise, if I choose another path and Ozark will going to be further up, it might cause the breeding to be longer. So basically I need to prioritize the one with the skill and the pals that I have first, because this is going to lead me to less farming, because again I need to get those passive skills that I want, and of course they will take resources and time. And of course there are different ways to get them, like pearl merchants for example, that rotate different pearls. You can even catch them and bring them to your base and just spawn them, and you can actually see the pearls that they're having, and maybe you decide to buy it using gold. You can catch them in the wild, you can breed them of course, you can find them in cage pearls, and of course bosses and so on. Now you want to prioritize pearls that have the skills that you want, and preferably of course more than less. Because again, empty slots will lead to eventually something that can go in just random, and basically you want less random and more chances for a specific skill that you have on a pearl to appear in the breeded result. This is why usually at the end, for example, when I got to have lots of breeding until I got what I want, to have lots of grease bolts, and eventually I have lots of good drops for grease bolt, and I just bred the good result of the grease bolt with the other good result of the grease bolt, but all of them essentially had the genes, basically the skills that I wanted, and when I combined them I got a higher chance to actually get what I want, and eventually I got the end result pretty fast. For example, what I used was a grease bolt, the first one with ferocious, muscle head and burly body, the other one with a lot of lighting and legend. Burly body, by the way, the fact that I have it, I can actually keep those two, and eventually if I want to have burly body instead maybe of ferocious, I can just keep them and try bring them until I get that option. So basically what I'm saying is save those good drops that you get, because you might want to use them first of all maybe on other breeds, because you already have good drops that might lead to something good eventually at the end that has those passive skills. And the other thing is that you might want to combine those two even just to get slightly different result. This is the end result that I decided to keep. As you can see here, I have Legend, Ferocious, Musclehead and Lord of Lightning. Remember, Lord of Lightning is actually inherited from the first breed, and actually I have it always inherited throughout until I got Greasebolt. I wanted it because again I wanted to get a powerful electric pearl, and Lord of Lightning give me that extra lightning damage that I wanted. Now the important thing to note is, well, it depends basically on the pearls that you have. Sometimes there's a skill that you really want and you wanted maybe to do it in the beginning, but sometimes it may be better to do it later on, because again, keeping a specific skill throughout the breeding might lead you to, well, try more breeds, depends on the, because again, especially if it's a unique skill, basically because you don't going to have this particular skill on many other pearls, so you need to kind of maintain it throughout the breeding, and this might lead you to have much more breeding until you get what you want. And if there is an option to actually get it just late, and you can easily get the other ones that are common between the other pearls, it's better to do so. Because the chance that you're going to get, for example, Musclehead maybe, or Ferocious, or many of the other pearls are much higher compared to your unique skill that you're only going to get on a specific pearl, right? And then I needed to maintain all of this throughout the chain of the breeding, so it wasn't easy. Of course, it's all about what pearls that you have, how you prioritize things. I'm not saying this is the optimal one, but again, because I already have these pearls that I know they have a good set of skills, it's actually saved me a lot of time trying to find ones, to find good drops. Now, to fully understand the results, you need to consider other things. For example, the player skill for the end result of the pearl that you actually want to get, and try to have synergy with it. Also, other pearls that can enhance the certain pearl that you're actually using. For example, in this case, I'm using in my team Spark It that actually increases the electric damage of pearls that I'm playing with. So it just needs to be in the party, but it just increases the damage. So also knowing the later synergies of the end result of the pearl that you want to get are also very important. That allows you to build through things. By the way, I caught with the bug, I needed to upgrade again. I already got to 10 before. So here, for example, you can see another thing that is important to know. There are some pearls that have strong base stats. You see both Greasebolt, right, and for Stellar Knocked are all upgraded fully for 3 of the stats. Now, depends on what you want to get, whether it's a worker or a fighter or both. But you can see here in terms of attack and defense, you can see, by the way, there are no star upgraded. I didn't invest in duplicate yet. You can see that for Stellian Knocked has higher damage and higher defense compared to Greasebolt. So this is something you need to know ahead of time if you want to prioritize maybe combat. But again, it doesn't mean that having this attack alone is good enough. Depends on the stats. There are the things that can enhance the attack, or again, based on maybe settlers that you're going to use, based on other synergies, like in this case, Spark It, that allows, and also unique skills that player, the specific breeded Pal is going to have, that eventually might lead him to be more powerful. The other thing to note, of course, is the type of Pal that you're going to have, because again, it's going to be good against certain types and less, let's say, less effective against other types of Pals that you maybe prioritize this spell to fight against. It can be maybe a certain boss that you want to smash with a certain build, or just, you know, have something that is more versatile and can be very good at certain area, which type of spells type exists. This is why you should be aware of this elemental cheat sheet, so we can see you know, which one, for example, if you want to fight dragons, you want to bring ice. If you want to find you know, better against neutral, you're going to bring dark, and so on. You can see it here. And some of the spells will have actually 2 of them, which also a consideration if you want to create something more versatile. In this case, I really wanted to optimize and also create a really strong theme about probably the most iconic Pal in the game, Grisbold, and have it very strong against water type of enemies. But maybe I shouldn't call it enemies, let's call it just spells. Some of them, of course, are going to be friends, right? But when I fight against them, they are. Anyway, so these are important things to consider when breeding. The other thing, of course, is just having patience and time, and hopefully you're going to get what you want, hopefully sooner than other. But again, there are things like I mentioned here you can do to expedite it, so there are higher chance that you're going to get what you want. It's always good, of course, not to have any negative things there, so they won't get inherited and screw up things, and try to get as many of those good traits that you want, skills that you want to have as possible. So again, even the duplicates would be great. Usually we're gonna duplicates later on once you really get closer to what you want, and we have pals that are the same like you see here, and you can just breed between them to speed things up. And again, I recommend not deleting the ones, keep them, because they might be useful for other beasts that you want to achieve. So make sure to keep with the good ones. Although they're limited amount of space, make sure to keep the good ones for later breeding. You never know which one you need, because again, once you know what you need, you might again do this research again and might find out, all right, oh, that pal actually was very good, but they deleted it. So don't be in that position. And that is for this video. Hope you find anything here that is useful for you. I'm gonna see you on the next guide. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.